Hey everyone, this is Scott with Hobby Plus. I'm the guy that communicates you through customer service. I do a lot of our original posting on Facebook and social media in general. And we've had a video out on how to adjust the two-speed servo, the servo for the two-speed transmission, but it's not very in-depth. And so we realized that through customer feedback, and we want to give you guys the knowledge, the confidence to move forward on how to do this. It's really, really easy. And it's probably a good thing, you know, every so often just to double check it. Just because things can get out of alignment, things get dirty, things get worn out. So if sometimes your car's working good and all of a sudden it starts skipping or engaging and then not engaging, a lot of times it can be resulted to just a small adjustment here, trim adjustment on the servo. So I'm going to walk you through it. Okay, so if we're going to put a new servo in, you're going to you need a Phillips screwdriver. Where am I at? There we go. You need a Phillips screwdriver. This is a PH1 Phillips screwdriver. You can get these anywhere. Tools are sold, Amazon, whatever. You likely will need side cutters to cut zip ties off the servo. In this case, we didn't in the rock van because it's a short wire and it's got a little adapter, male-to-male adapter underneath the ESC here. You may need, if you've got big fingers, you know, you might need some needle nose pliers, just in case, not necessarily mandatory. And if you're working on the Cr18 or Arctos, you're likely going to need a 1.5 mil. Never mind that tip on there. It's old, but it still works. And it's at the end of the tip where it's kind of, you know, tapers a little bit, so it's got a nice snug fit. I actually like using it. So anyway, those might be the tools you need depending on the vehicle. Okay, so we've removed our old servo. We're going to go put a new servo in. Before we put it in, we want to plug the servo in before we mount it up. I think it's easier to do out of the vehicle. Okay, turn on our radio and then our transmitter. That's the only way our vehicles bind, is radio first, vehicle second, typically in most applications. Okay, that's the way they bind. So once we've done that, you've got your servo plugged in. Make sure in the neutral position here on your channel 3 on the Arctos and the, let's see, on the Arctos and the Cr18, it's channel 6 right there. Okay, so make sure in neutral. And whoops, what that neutral does, that's going to allow us, we're going to install our servo arm straight up and down. Okay, now when you plug your servo in and you've got it here and you're going to, you know, do all this, you want to note the orientation of it when you put your servo arm back on, that you don't put it on, you flip your servo the other way around. So just note which way the arm goes on and which way the servo is facing. In this case, the arm is towards the back of the vehicle. Okay, so you've got your servo centered without the arm on it. You install it. You may even install the arm before you put it fully in, depending on how much room you have. In this case, we can install it after the servo's in, fairly easy. You can see our adjuster or metal rod down there. So it's easy to install this once the servo's in. Okay, so we've got our servo in. We've got our arm now centered in the neutral position. Okay, now we need to make some adjustments. How we make the adjustments here on the transmitter, how to get into the adjustments here. It's really hard working opposite directions here when you're looking through a screen. Okay, so double click our bind button. Okay, I just double click that. So we see the alternating red, green, red, green. Okay, on the 6th channel, it'll do something similar. It'll beep at you. So that does a little bit, something different, but the functions are the same. So then we've done that. I'm in my neutral position. Okay, so in order to adjust neutral on the 4-channel radio, you have to use the trim knob. Okay, let me see if we can get a close-up of that. So I've got the trim knob here. Let's see if we can get both in the screen here. All right, so I've got my trim knob. See it adjust? Okay, so that uses the steering trim knob in the neutral position. I just found this out today. Okay, so let's go through the motions here. Let's see where I'm at. You can see wheels aren't spinning. I'm in neutral. Now I can take that neutral knob and turn it all the way one way. Okay. That way, still in neutral. Now if I turn it the other way, let's see if it goes into gear. See? Oh, okay. Perfect example. Can you hear it skipping? Like it's right on the edge of the gear. Right? We don't want that. Okay? So in this case, my neutral position is not in the correct position. All right, so I'm going to bring it back to center. There we go. And I always go forward and back for my final adjustment. The reason I do that is you might have a little play in the metal shaft here, and going back and forth might center it in a different spot, you know, just slightly. We're talking hundreds of thousands of an inch, or, you know, tenth of an inch, or hundreds of thousands of inches in inches. Oh my goodness. So you get my point. It's a very small adjustment. So anyway, go back and forth with it. Okay, I'm neutral going forward. I'm neutral going backward. Okay. I hit the bind button again. All right, sorry, hold the bind button down. My bad. Bind button twice. Okay, bind button twice. I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect person. Ask my wife. Okay, so bind button twice. That brings us back out of the programming menu. Okay, I've done my neutral. All right, now you can go back in. Okay, and we go double again. And then I go to, this is first gear. When I'm in back, I'm in first gear. So my switch back in the Rock Van and the Convoy is first gear. Should be the same for all. They're all the same. So back will be first gear, or low gear, however you want to call it. Okay, so my low gear, is it engaging in forward? Yes. Engaging in back. I don't hear any clicking. I don't hear any of that going on. But let's say there was something going on. In low gear and in second gear, we use the dual rate knob, the steering dual rate knob, to adjust. Okay, so we can see here. Let's get them all on one screen. So see that? I'm moving the knob, and you see the arm moving. Okay, I'm going to bring it all the way one way. That's probably in neutral now. All right, so now I'm in neutral. We don't want that, so I need to adjust it back the other way. Watch my arm come back. Okay, now it engages. One thing you have to remember is we don't want to go too far. Okay, now watch top down on the servo. If I go too far, let me get the light in there. Hold on. All right, steady the camera there. If I go too far, see my servo start to pull? We don't want that. That's putting a lot of strain. So if I go all the way, look at that. We don't want that. Okay. So I'm going to go back to where it was. Bring it up. I'm going to go probably right there. Let's check that. Okay. Good. My servo's not strained. Okay. Check it again. What do you guys think? Yeah. Right about there. Good. Okay. We don't want this to be pulling the servo that way. That's where you get all the load on the servo, and it's not happy. It's going to get really, really hot because it's just under stress the whole time. Okay. These things are never under stress if they're adjusted right. Right. They're just moving, you know, a couple grams, if that, of weight inside the transmission. It's nothing. Okay, so same thing here. All right, so I've set the first gear. Now I can go. I'm going to double click this and get out of it. Okay. Now I'm going to go to my second gear, my high gear. You hear that's a lot faster. And I'm going to double click into my menu, into my programming. Okay. So again, let's get the knob. Oops. Let's get the knob in there. Again, the steering, this is the steering dual rate knob. See how I'm moving the servo? We don't want that, right? Let's get a closer view here. So that's neutral right there. I'm guessing. Yep, that's neutral. We don't want that. Again, and also as you're adjusting it, you might give it a little bit of throttle to engage the gears. Sometimes it can get caught between the gears, like it just doesn't fully engage. So if you give it a little bit of throttle, then you'll know it'll fully engage. So right here, hear that? Hear that skipping? It's not fully engaged. So let's go a little bit more. Watch the arm. There we go. No more skipping. Forward, back. Might be, let's see here. So see, I don't want to pull the servo either, right? I don't want to put the pressure on. So right about there. There you go. Okay. Again, double tap. Let's get out. Programming's done. You can turn off the transmitter, turn off the car. Now, to double check, I should be able to turn this on. I haven't moved my switch. Turn it back on. And that arm shouldn't move. It should be right where I left it. It never moved. Okay, so let's go through the motions. Second gear, neutral, first. Okay. I hope this has been helpful for you. Comment below in the video. Let us know what you think. I'll be doing more of these. I like helping people out and teaching on our product and how everything works. So appreciate the feedback, and thanks for being huge fans of Hobby Plus, and let us know what you want to see next.